What's up, guys? It's your boy Wimpy. I'm your host. This is the Rebel Revelations podcast, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about finding purpose. So, purpose is fundamental for us to exist, okay? You won't really understand that until you go through an existential crisis, but there is a void in here, and it has to be filled with purpose, okay? Purpose is what gives the suffering meaning. It's what gives your life meaning. It's what makes your life worth living, okay? So there's two different types of people, okay? And each type goes about it differently, all right? I know it's a broad spectrum for each type, but we're just going to take each ideology to its extremes, all right? Assuming that the person is intelligent and actually cares about their beliefs, all right? So we have non-believers or atheists, and we have your believers of a lot of denominations, okay? Now, on both sides, you got your fucking morons, all right, that don't really think a whole lot. They're half-assed. You have your half-assed believers, and you have your half-assed atheists. They just inherited some idea, or they grew up in a certain religion. They didn't really question it. You know, atheism is a belief, okay? And, you know, you got a lot of atheists out there that they didn't really think it out. They just say, oh, the people who believe in God, that's like believing in Bigfoot. They're fucking stupid. But they can't defend their own arguments, and they never play it out. Same with believers, you know, they never really research their religion. They don't take their beliefs that seriously, because if they did, they would put a lot of effort into understanding God and what he wants. All right. So, half-assed aside, let's take them to their extremes. All right. We'll start with atheists. So, atheists, they reject God. And with it comes rejection of morals. So everything becomes rationalized, everything becomes science, everything becomes lawful, all right? There's no higher power keeping people in check, okay? So it becomes very narcissistic, self-centered, what works best for me, okay? And what do I mean by everything becomes lawful or everything is game? Murder, stealing, cheating, you know, there's no meaning to anything. So what does it matter? What does it matter if I kill somebody? What does it matter if I steal, all right? The only thing that's stopping them is punishment, okay? So we'll dive into that here in a little bit, but basically that's nihilism. The idea that life is meaningless and the rejection of morals. So out of that, there's two approaches. You can kill yourself, or you don't kill yourself. All right. Now, the reason you'd kill yourself is understanding that life is meaningless and you're suffering a lot. Then your life is suffering and there's no point to it. So why continue to suffer? Just kill yourself. It's the most logical thing you can do. Okay. Don't kill yourself. Okay, I don't want to kill myself. Life is meaningless, but I can still find enjoyment in it. I can still seek pleasure. This is called hedonism, seeking pleasure. And that comes at a cost. Seeking pleasure, sometimes that means at the cost of somebody else's joy or happiness. All right, seeking your own pleasure at any cost. This is what narcissists do. And this rolls over into power, seeking power. I think seeking power is an extension of hedonism because you feel pleasure when you exert your power over others. But Nietzsche disagrees. Nietzsche takes Darwinism a step farther. Well, Darwinism is the idea that we come from evolution and that the only purpose of beings is to survive and reproduce, the will to survive and reproduce. But once you have those boxes checked, the next thing, how can I find meaning in this life? Well, I'm just going to have as much pleasure as I can. Seeking pleasure, the will to pleasure. That's hedonism. Then Nietzsche says there's something above all that, the will to power. I say that it's just an extension of hedonism, but he says what organisms want the most is to exert their power over others. All right, this is the peak of narcissism. And it's never enough. They never fill that void of purpose, okay? They just try to fill it in with their own meaning, which is usually pleasure or power seeking. Taken to the extreme, it can get very, very sadistic. This is where you get human trafficking and shit like that, okay? And like on a personal basis, if you're married to a narcissist, you can understand how detrimental that is to you, all right? And the narcissists, they don't feel much better than their partners. Well, I mean, I'm sure their partners feel a lot worse than they do, but they still have that void that they're trying to fill in. Okay? So that's what happens when you go down the road of an atheist. Leads to nihilism, then hedonism, seeking power, and then unnecessary suffering for yourself and others. You never fill that hole. It's never enough. All right. Now, what about believers? Now, the idea is that purpose comes from God, okay? That God made you for a purpose. What is that purpose? You kind of have to figure out for yourself. But an overview is to serve God, all right? Serve that higher power, which translates over into serving others. What does God want you to do? He wants you to serve others. This is found in all the major religions, okay? In Christianity, serving others is serving God. Islam, serving others is a type of worship towards God. All right? Judaism, serving God is a commandment, or serving others is a commandment. Hinduism, serving others cleanses the heart. Same with Buddhism. Everybody's interconnected. So you're serving others, you're serving yourself. Okay? Serving others is the core of all of these religions. That's what I'm saying. So what happens when you start serving others? You feel connected. You feel that hole, all right? You feel love. You give love, all right? It feels good. It feels good to serve others. It brings your life purpose. So much purpose that some people are even willing to sacrifice their lives. That sits outside of reason, all right? Like I was saying, atheists, they have to reason everything out, okay? So why they reason out love? They reason out having kids and stuff like that. I understand it, okay? Passing on your genes. But self-sacrifice, that lies outside of biology and reason. Why would I sacrifice my life for people I don't know? Or for an idea bigger than myself? Some fucking moron came up with mimesis or something to pass down these ideas or memes. He's a fucking moron. Don't listen to him. Alright, anyways. That's love, self-sacrifice. Now, where does this come into play on a bigger scale? If society was all atheists, or if society was all believers, okay? And assuming all the believers came together and didn't try to kill each other over stupid bullshit. All right, let's play it out. Atheists, okay? They become selfish, self-centered, everything becomes reason. How can I have the most pleasure in this life? How can I exert the most power in this life? Assuming that they play it out and they're not stupid. You have a population of selfish people and they don't adhere to the law. There's no universal morals or something or anything keeping them in check. So you need a big government. You need a big government with a lot of power to enforce laws. Cruelly, okay? That's what keeps these people in check, is punishment. That's what they react to, like dogs. This is totalitarianism, all right? So you have selfish people. Well, you're going to have selfish rulers. They don't care about the people. They don't care about the people's benefit. All they worry about is seeking their own pleasure and seeking their own power. Totalitarianism. Refer to the Soviet Union. They played this shit out in real life, all right? Didn't work out too well. Millions of people died. The idea was to get rid of religion and rule society by science and reason, all right? For the betterment of the people, for the good of the society. Sounds great on paper. doesn't work in practice because the leaders become self-centered and selfish. And hell, what does it matter? All right, everybody's going to die anyways. Why don't I just, have as much fun as I can? All right, that's a dystopia. Now with believers, assuming that they don't kill each other and we all get along, serve others and serve God. All right, serving God is serving others. All right, if everybody bought into that, we'd have a selfless population. Neighbors helping their neighbor, you helping your neighbor, and your neighbor helping you. Upward spiral. All right, everybody looking out for the betterment of each other, not for own selfish gains, putting down people to make yourself feel better, but for the betterment of the community. And the source of that is God. That's what's keeping people in check. They get a sense of fulfillment from that. They get love. All right. This would be a society built on love. You have a selfless population, you'll have selfless leaders. They'll look after their people. They'll put the benefits of their people above their own. All right? This would be a utopia. James Madison said that if all men were angels, there would be no government necessary. That's what we need. Each and every one of us needs to start serving each other. Serving God. That's where it starts. Love thy Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. These were the two commandments that Jesus was talking about that summed up the law and the prophets. This is the end goal here. All right. And self-sacrifice. That's because we're nowhere near where we need to be. A lot of people have died, sacrificed their lives to get humanity to where we're at today. Think of how many people have died just to get the Bible to us, all right? It wasn't just Jesus. His sacrifice was the first. Well, maybe not even the first. Prophets in the Old Testament, they were killed by their own people because they spoke the truth. And when you speak truth to power, it doesn't work out well for you. All right? Prophets. Isaiah, don't know the validity of it, but he was sawed in half. Okay, Elijah, he was the only one in the land. He was surrounded by Baal worshippers. They believed they were really right. All right, they believed they worshiped the true God, and they tried to kill him. Okay, but he got away. Anyways, what I'm saying is, there's been a lot of people who've died just to get to where we are at today. Without pain, without sacrifice, we would have nothing. And we still need some more people to sacrifice their lives for the greater good. So yeah, what it comes down to is being willing to lay down your life for your brothers. This is really what keeps people going in the military. All right, that's the idea. A lot of them, we think that, we're over here in this shithole of a country fighting for oil and money, the military-industrial complex, but that all goes out the door when you're out there. Now you're not fighting for them, you're fighting for your brother next to you, okay? That's what we need. More self-sacrifice, less narcissists. Our society has been filled with narcissists. The incentive, you're going to feel connected. You're going to feel love. Your life is going to have purpose. That's why you should buy in. But that's the gist of it. All right? What my philosophy is going to be leading up to is the kingdom of heaven. That's the main goal. Everybody has a part to play. All right? You're going to have to find out your purpose for yourself. Where do you fit in to this story? What do you have to provide? Are you going to be a bad guy or are you going to be a villain? All right? The good guys, they're known for their self-sacrifice. The villains are known for their selfishness. You got to decide what team you're on. And I can tell you which team's going to win. It's already been written. But we'll talk about that later. Prophecies, butterfly effect, determinism. All right. I'll probably be the next episode, or maybe the next episode. We'll talk about love in a little more detail. I don't want to rationalize it too much, but basically you can only experience love. Can't really rationalize it. It's beyond our understanding. Yeah, and it's going to lead up to the kingdom of heaven. And how do we get there? But that's all for this episode, guys. I hope you guys were interested. Or I kept you guys entertained. But be good.